just ran a checkup on myself. Some days I just have to check up on myself. I'm so icy, got that GG on my belt. Thank the Lord for my people in my head.
Hey everybody, it's the coach, and this is Madden 20 on EA Sports. Straight ahead, we've got a good one in store between the Mexico City Golden Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. I'll have scores around the league for you at the half, but it's time for a little football. So we'll hand it over to our broadcast team, Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis.
Thank you, Coach. From beautiful South Florida, there's a look at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The scene a few moments ago, here it is. It's unlike any other in sport as both teams made their way out of the tunnel. These folks are fired up as their guys are ready to do battle between the Mexico City Golden Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. Hi, everyone. Brandon Gaudin, Charles Davis. Charles, you look at the Dolphins as they enter play in this one. The losers their last time out, so they'll look to make amends here.
And one of the best ways you can do that is to be at home, and they are. They're going to try and ride that home crowd and that wave of emotion to a victory in this one.
Meanwhile, for Mexico City, our visitors, they were winners last time out, so they'll be looking, Charles, to make it 2 in a row.
And what I enjoyed when I watched their game tape and their victory last week is they put it together in every phase. Good offense, good defense, and some key plays on special teams. Let's see if they can get that second win in a row.
The first game's out of the way. Time to buckle down for the long season ahead, and we're off in week 2. This is taken at the 3. And he'll get across the 20 before he's brought down at about the 23-yard line. So here come the Dolphins now as they get set to take over on offense. They'll be taken out by the product of the University of Louisville, the talented Teddy Bridgewater.
And I'll bet right now just one thought in his mind.
Win the game, yeah.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He played pretty well. I mean, he didn't turn over the ball in terms of interceptions,
no,
right?
2 touchdown passes last week.
2 touchdown passes, but when your team doesn't win, that's just hollow. And the best quarterbacks don't care about anything but whether or not their team won.
They'll run for the first time here with Matt Breida. It's a loss of 4 on that first play, and it's second down.
And how about that, partner? That happened in a hurry. Sudden, explosive, gets into the backfield, and spills the play.
And he was AFC Defensive Player of the Week last week because of plays just like that. Well, the first play of the drive lost 4. Now they'll look to move it forward here on 2nd and 14. On second down, a run with Breida. And that one blown up quickly as he's going to be stopped before he could even get started. That's a big loss of 3, and it brings up 3rd down.
It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stuff that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
So time to start going in the other direction as they come up now 3rd and long. Out of the gun, Bridgewater. In trouble here, and down he goes. Back at the 8-yard line. Von Miller has now recorded 10 sacks on the season.
It always helps for a visiting team to come in and set the tone on defense. In fact, when we talked with them prior to the game, they said they wanted this home crowd to feel like they had to hide their valuables when they were in town.
Well, the home crowd quiet now early. See if their offense can take over and get some points on the board. Here's Sam Cook now, as his first punt will come from inside his own end zone. He steps into this one, and this is a rocket. And he fields it cleanly. Good blocking there, nearly sprung him. As it is, it'll go as a 19-yard return. So out comes this offense to take over for the first time. At a glance at the man under center at 6'5", he always demands attention.
I read something prepping for this game that he said prior to, and I think he really said it a few months ago, where he talked about he wants to have the type of season that at the end, he's buying gifts for all the guys who have helped him along the way. And I know that the team wants to hold him to that and really get into his wallet. But that's what good leadership gives you. You know, at the end of the season, because you've done a great job, QB, he's usually the guy who springs for the good stuff.
North of 100 yards, the 2 scores. And, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to the O-line. We talked a lot about him, but offensive line was good too.
They're obviously in sync with each other, whether it's zone blocking, power running game, no matter what. He understands how to read them and find the creases that they provide.
The last run got 6, now 2nd and 4.
Hey, Zoo.
2nd and 4. And he's got Edelman for the first time. That's complete. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. Good yardage after the catch. Is that play good for 30 and a first? Excellent execution, and now they're set up nicely.
Are they ever? Red zone? I wonder what the next play call is going to be, because after a big play like that, a lot of teams like to use the momentum to launch another one.
Got it.
56. Mike's 56.
I'm coming for you. You mine. Okay, go.
They'll run for the first time with Devontae Freeman. This will be stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2. 8 yards the gain on that last run. Here's 2nd and a couple. Looking to throw. Mendoza. And it's caught. Touchdown. Antonio Brown. His 2nd touchdown on the season as his guys are able to strike first here in this opening quarter. An ideal start for them, really. You force the punt, and then you go down and score.
And you've got to see a fist pump on the sideline from the head coach, don't you? Because he's turned into his bench, and he's telling his team, this is how we prepare. Force the punt, go downfield and score. I told you guys, it's just like a boxer in the gym preparing for the fight. Now we get to turn it all loose.
Will Lutz on for the point after. And it's good to make it 7-0. A drive there of just 4 plays. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at the 3. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get it up to the 29-yard line. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. And on the first drive, 3 and out. I know that these are professional athletes, but I would imagine sometimes you get the nerves at the beginning of a game still, don't you?
Those don't ever go away. And typically what I've heard from guys and what I remember from playing, if you don't have nerves at the start of a game, it's not going to be a great day for you. You're not really ready to play. So finding a way to harness those nerves and not let them affect you in a negative way, that's what all the guys are looking for.
And the first play of the drive there is incomplete. And here now a look at the Dolphins offensive unit.
Let's focus our attention on the offensive line and Brandon Sheriff, the first-round pick in 2015. In fact, the first lineman taken at number 5 overall, an offensive tackle in college, transitioned very well to guard in the NFL. Solid, reliable, 2 traits you love in an offensive lineman. How about tough, physical, and nasty? He's an Iowa offensive lineman. Those guys play well in the NFL.
That catch good for 5. It's 3rd down. A look there at the starters on the defensive side of the ball. They really played well a week ago in that win over the Jets.
Yeah, they pitched a shutout in that game, didn't they? And those don't come around all that often in the NFL. The ability to keep someone out of the end zone and also from kicking one through the post. Well done.
The last play on the completion got them half of what they needed. Now here's a tough 3rd and 5. Bridgewater. Open man is born. And a pretty nice tackle there, ranging up from his free safety spot as he'll stop him about a yard short. They get only 4 that time as that leads us to a 4th down.
Obviously, they didn't get everything they wanted on that completion, but they put themselves in a spot where you've got to at least think about going for it. I know where we are on the field, but still, you've got to think about it, don't you?
Here's Sam Cook now as he'll punt it away for the 2nd time. And that one hits a little too close to the goal line, and it continues into the end zone for a touchback. So here are our visitors to take over on offense. They have to be thrilled with that first drive that got them the touchdown. Now they'll be looking to make it a 2-score advantage here on the road.
And you know they spent all week in practice, in meetings, talking about taking an early advantage. Being the road team, going up a score, that takes the crowd out of the game and puts some doubt in the minds of their opponents.
They'll run with McCaffrey. And an alley to run. And he'll be brought down somewhat awkwardly here, and a late flag as well. I think this one's going to be a face mask. So that flag will cost him 15.
And it doesn't matter anymore how you get the face mask. Any part of it, that's going to be 15 yards.
And now it's 1st and 10. A big mistake, especially when you factor in the personal foul yardage. Throwing on 1st down, but this one winds up to be incomplete. And now the starting lineup for the offense.
And everyone always tells me the fullback is leaving the game, and then I say, hold it a second. What about Kyle Juszczyk? 2-time Pro Bowler, maybe the best all-around fullback in the game for his ability to block, catch, and occasionally run the football inside.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on 1st down. Escaping the pressure right. Throws right side, and that's complete. And he'll be out just a yard or 2 shy of the 30. That one covers 24 yards. It's a 1st down.
Sometimes it's designed, and sometimes you just have to know when to leave the pocket and move and make something happen. And on that play, he was able to get on the run and was still accurate throwing the football.
On the ready.
Line of scrimmage, the 31 now on 1st and 10. Mendoza now. Off play action. Benjamin's got it. And he's brought down, but not before he reaches the 8-yard line. That's back-to-back plays of over 20 yards. 2 big plays in succession. Not sure this D knows what hit him, but now they got to get ready. It's 1st and goal. They'll run here with Freeman. And they'll get this from the 8 to the 5. Pickup of 3. Time for a look at our starters here on defense. Against the pass, they've had some issues. Ranked number 23 in the NFL right now.
And when you're getting ready to face the number 1 overall offense in the NFL, it does not matter where you rank defensively because you got your hands full. You don't know what you're going to face, but you know that that's a strong unit that you're getting ready for.
And the ball smack dab on the 5-yard line. Here's 2nd and goal. 2nd and 5. His pass caught at the 4. They get only a yard there. Now it's 3rd and goal. And as a first-rounder, a lot of eyes on him, a lot of expectations.
And he has to play well in his rookie year. Those days of coddling guys and bringing them along slowly, those days are long gone. When you're drafted in the 1st round, they expect you to play right away. And the community's eyes and fan base, they'll be on you the entire way.
And you take a look at this draft class from a season ago, really it grades out as a pretty darn good. And he will take this one in for a touchdown. Kelvin Benjamin, his 4th touchdown on the year. And his guys are going to add on to their lead. That's 2 really excellent drives for them to start this ballgame, both ending with touchdown passes.
In big picture, they look great, don't they? Like a well-oiled machine right now. But let's down focus a little bit and talk about the guy calling the signals and throwing the passes. He is playing with precision right now, scanning the field and making excellent throws.
Lutz good on the extra point, and it's now 14-0. So the drive there took 6 plays. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This fielded at the 2. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 25-yard line.
Let's go!
Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. They've had it twice. They've punted twice. Not the start they were hoping for.
Not at all, and let's face it, every facility we visit, everyone talks about converting on 3rd down, how big that is. In this situation, they've had to punt it away twice, so they're furiously going over things on the sidelines. What do we need to do to pick up a 1st down and change our momentum?
Bridgewater now looking to throw on 1st. Looking middle, and it's incomplete. Sammy Watkins, the intended target. That'll bring up 2nd down.
I know coaches tell us all the time that having a powerful arm isn't the #1 thing they look for in a quarterback. But when you're trying to throw inside routes and you need to put some heat on it, it helps to have the big gun. In this case, just a little bit too much.
And they see right through that defensively as he'll be hit and taken down in the backfield.
He has elite instincts from his linebacker spot. He's able to diagnose the run and flies in like a missile to stop that one behind the line of scrimmage.
Ready, set, 51, Mike, 51. I got you. I got you.
On the delay, here's Breida. And he goes nowhere. He'll lose yardage back at the 17. And a loss of 3 to bring up 4th. And our statistician, Ben Ramsar, just held up 3 fingers to remind me he now has 3 tackles for a loss only in the 1st quarter.
Well, Ben's got it detailed perfectly. He always gives us the right stats. I'd love to be on the offense's headset right now because what you're hearing is, can someone please block him? Come up with a scheme. Come up with something. Make sure you block him because he's disrupting everything.
Here's Sam Cook now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. This is away and a very good kick angled for the sidelines. And no return possible here as they angle this one out of bounds. Out comes Christian McCaffrey with the rest of the offense. Last week, a strong showing, up over 100, also 2 trips to the end zone.
It's the kind of week that if you said, listen, I'll let you have this type of a game each and every week, you'd sign up for it. You wouldn't try and get too greedy. But let's face it, good runners always want to be a little bit more greedy at the end, try and squeeze out every last yard. He's going to try and duplicate that and exceed it in this game.
And now a throw on 1st down there, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Edelman there, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
I think he's a little trigger happy right there, and it turned into an ill-advised throw into their zone.
Well, we know he has confidence. He'll throw it any place, anytime, anywhere. That time it fell incomplete. So now they'll come up on 2nd and 10, once again from the 28.
Hey, Haywood!
56
To throw is Mendoza. Throwing again. Trying for Edelman again. This time he's got it. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. The catch and run, good for 24 yards.
Slant route's effective no matter who's running the route and catching the ball. But when you have a receiver of that stature, you have to be a little bit more precise throwing it. You don't have the same catch radius with the bigger targets.
Throwing there, but this pass is going to wind up incomplete. He was trying to go back to Edelman, but it'll be 2nd down.
And it is true. You can draft the fastest, you can draft the most athletic guys, but if they don't know the art of positioning, sometimes it's all for naught. In this case, in the right spot, helped force the incompletion.
Yeah, but had his hands on it for a second. Would have been a tough catch. And touchdown! A big play there. His third touchdown now on the year. And his guys find a way to stretch that lead. Heck of a start to his season. He had 2 touchdowns in the opener last week, another one here in week 2.
Well, I don't want to call him a touchdown machine this early, but sometimes you get locked in, and you feel good about things. You get into that zone, and those touchdowns come in bunches. He may be off to that kind of a start.
It's like he was shot out of a cannon. I would imagine success this early, great momentum going forward for the rest of the year.
He keeps this up, they'll soon be chanting MVP anytime he touches the ball.
Lutz will look to add the extra point. It's good, and before you know it, it's 21-0. So that drive, 4 plays. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at the 3. And he'll be brought down at the 23, make it the 24-yard line. So now here come the Dolphins. The results for them so far not that great. Well, not good at all. 3 drives, 3 punts.
Yeah, and now what you're doing is you're looking at your play sheet. You're trying to figure out what you're going against defensively. I wonder, are they showing them something they haven't seen or anticipated in practice, and maybe that's throwing them off? Or do they just have to go to a different play calling section and try and run some offense that way?
First down, Bridgewater. And he's got his receiver. That's Sammy Watkins. That one good for 13 and a Dolphin first down. And the totals for Sammy Watkins in last week's game. 5 catches, 66 yards.
And I'd certainly expect them to use him quite a bit because he runs excellent routes, has good hands, and knows how to get open.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. To throw is Bridgewater. And this one complete to Virgil Green. And that'll be good for 8 yards to the 45. The dump off good for 8 there on first down. Facing a 2nd and 2 after that last catch, good for 8 yards. And he got blown up, losing yardage on the play back at the 44.
If you're a selfish player and you're throwing the ball, you're cool with the completion. Maybe not so cool with the yardage loss, though, huh?
Yeah, you went backwards on the yardage. Hey, it kind of works like a sack for the defense there.
Yeah, it's a really big play for them, right? Able to figure it out, sniff it out, and finish it off.
Here we go. Set. 91. Watch twist.
3rd and short yardage, Bridgewater. And this is going to be incomplete.
Sometimes it's just not your day. There's another failure right there on 3rd down.
Here's Sam Cook now. He's been one of their few bright spots so far. And he gets this away, and look at this. This is a good one. And problems spreading to the punt team now. This one goes all the way into the end zone on the fly, so that'll come back to the 20. Now we get a peek at the captain of this offense heading back out there. He's had one of those games that any quarterback loves, not only being able to complete some passes, but some deep passes.
And it's pretty to watch. I mean, it's an absolute joy to see, but let's face it, we got to give a little bit of credit where it's deserved, right?
Well, the protection's been great, if that's where you're going.
Yeah, protection's been phenomenal, but how about how it's been spotlighted, right? Our producer, Christian McLeod, our director, Kyle Burt, the rest of the crew, what they put together with these images and pictures, If you're an offensive lineman, that's what you're taking with you to contract time.
They're going to have a lot to take to contract time if this continues. 25 yards the pickup there, and also a first down.
All I remember from my experience as a defender, when the big fella gets the football, you've got to get on him early before he gets a chance to get up ahead of steam, because once he does that, he's going to leave a lot of tacklers in his wake.
The big play to start him out has him at the 45 already.
You can't block me. You can't block me.
Back to throw. Mendoza flushed out right. He'll try and run it. And he'll work it across midfield inside the 45. Nothing open downfield. He keeps it himself for 11 and a first down. Back-to-back good plays have him on the move on first down. Mendoza operating from the gun. And this will be caught by Brown. Touchdown! Antonio Brown with his second touchdown in this opening quarter. And his guys are going to add on to their lead. Now, first quarter, and this lead is already getting into dangerous territory. They better be careful on the other sideline.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more like a basketball game where one team is pressing and that team can't get the ball over half court. I mean, it is stealing it and scoring it, layups, the whole deal. That's what it feels like right now. They are all over them.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. It's good, and they stretch their lead to 28-0 now. So the drive there, they went 80 yards in 3 plays. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at his 4. And a pretty good return here. He'll be stopped just shy of the 25 at the 24-yard line. The Dolphins at the line ready for their next drive. They've got to be absolutely reeling right now. Couldn't have expected to be down this big this early. But that's the spot they're in as they come up to try again here. It's a loss of a yard there, and it's second down. An entertaining start to this one. More to come on EA Sports. After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. To throw, Bridgewater. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Von Miller in there to drop him for his 11th sack of the year.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit them with a screen soon.
Third and long now after the sack, and we'll see if Bridgewater has a response.
Let's make these babies cry.
Throwing is Bridgewater. And that is incomplete.
Well, it's looking like another 3 and out here, and at some point, got to be able to put together a drive to keep your defense from having to go right back out on the field. I feel like things are starting to unravel a little bit, and we're not even at halftime.
Here's Sam Cook now, standing just outside his own goal line. And he deserves a bronze leg as he gets this one away. Now Brown. A good return there, call it 13 yards. And this offense, they're going to have excellent field position. They take over with a 1st and 10 on the short side of the field. Out comes this field general once more, leading his offense back onto the field. They've got the lead. He's a big reason why, looking sharp so far.
And as we travel around the league, we see quarterbacks get it done in a variety of ways. But today's NFL does tell us one thing. If that guy doesn't play well, their team's not going to win. And right now, he's got his team in the lead.
And now they'll look to extend that lead. An incomplete pass on 1st down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Now Mendoza off the play fake. And that will be incomplete. Tried to dial up the long way out there, but it'll be 3rd down. So back-to-back incompletions, and that has them staring at a 3rd and 10. And here's Mendoza. From the gun, he'll throw. Dancing to his left. Now he'll throw deep left side. And that'll wind up incomplete. Bold play call there. Now it's 4th down. They're going for a receiver there. Already has 1 touchdown in this first half. A 2nd one not to be.
I like where their headspace is, though. I mean, I really like the thought process, right? You got a guy who's already scored 1, right? You want to go back to him, continue the hot hand, and make them adjust to you defensively. I like what they were trying to get done, even though they weren't successful.
And they'll get this to the 30-yard line before crossing over out of bounds. That one good for 17 yards on 4th. Couldn't ask for much more from your offense there. 1st down. Well, Charles, in the past, a lot of people called this offense one-dimensional.
I think you did.
Well,
I think it was you.
I'll be honest, I did. But I think the fan base is hoping with this young rookie that they can put some wrinkles in this offense like we just saw.
I think you're exactly right, because we did have that discussion that what we've seen in the past from them, they needed to broaden, and they have done it here. Look at what he's bringing to their offense, and now as a defensive coordinator, you've got some extra work to do to prepare for him and their offense. Well, we saw him there trying to get it to the outside, trying to get to the perimeter, but not a whole lot of room there. But there's got to be one positive to that. If you keep moving laterally, creases tend to develop as the game moves on, and they can run it back inside later.
And he gets it all the way down inside the 10 and mark him at the 5. 23 yards on the play. And now with that completion, he's north of 200 yards here in the first half.
And he's going to break our statistician, Marvin, isn't he? Because Marvin right now is just tallying it up. Hope his hand doesn't hurt too much doing this or keeps hitting the calculator. But my goodness, what a start he is off to. By the end of this game, he could have monster numbers. He just wants to continue to be accurate.
Looking to throw. Mendoza. And it's caught. Touchdown. Antonio Brown on his way to a monster game. 3 first-half touchdowns as his guys continue to put this one out of reach. There was a lot of zip on that pass, and baseball might have called that a frozen rope.
I like it when you bring the diamond into the game. I'm going back to the gridiron. Had some heat on that bad boy. Sometimes you throw a touchdown pass, and sometimes
you throw, what, a touchdown strike?
There you go. That's my man, in concert.
Lutz will look to add the extra point. Lutz with the extra point, and the route is on here in this first half. So that winds up a 7-play drive all told. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Now Sammy Watkins and the rest of the offense getting set to go again. With them losing here in the second quarter and his limited productivity so far, you'd have to think they're going to try to look to him a little bit more, right?
I would guess you would start to see maybe some quick screens, some hitches, anything to get the ball in his hands quickly and let him try and do some damage after the catch. Or maybe just flip some formations and keep him isolated where it's more of a one-on-one route and get the ball to him.
I say just 4 verts, right?
Hey, why not? 4 verts, one of the best routes in football. Hard to cover each guy all the way along the route.
So far, just 1 catch for him. They'll break the huddle, come up on 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line.
Ready, go.
Here's Bridgewater. His throw incomplete. He was looking for Watkins that time, and it's 3rd down. Some of the fans here don't seem too happy about what we've seen in this first half.
No, not at all, and I understand why. They've looked lethargic, out of sync, and it shows on the scoreboard.
These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. Bridgewater. They'll set up a screen for Breida. And he'll be brought down at the 28, and that is well short of the first. Well contained there defensively. The screen gets only a yard, and it's 4th. Instead of throwing it downfield, Charles, they just tried to dump it underneath there. You like the call?
I do. I think it's a high percentage play because you get the completion, and what you're counting on is your back to use his legs and his elusiveness to make people miss and pick up the first down. In this case, it didn't happen.
Here's Sam Cook now. He's been terrific so far. 44 on his first punt, and this is a good kick as well. With it is Brown. Give him 11 yards that time on the return, and that will come the offense as they take over. Back onto the field now comes the wideout Antonio Brown. He's doing what he's capable of, having a solid game. Not the most amazing game. He's not over 100 yards, but a good game so far.
And you just know that mentally he feels like he's 1 catch away from turning it into a great game and starting on that road. And the defenders are well aware of that too. They've got to figure out a way to not let that escalate. Keep him right in this zone here and call it a day, because otherwise he can really decimate them.
Better believe they are well aware of his playmaking ability. It's a 7-yard carry to set them up with a 2nd and 3. Mendoza now. Off play action. And this is going to be caught. He won the fight for the football. A first down there on a pickup of 25. At 6'5", Kelvin Benjamin is so hard for defenses to deal with.
When you open up the dictionary and you look at that NFL definition of uncovering, you find Kelvin Benjamin, just what you talked about. His size, his catch radius, where you can put the ball almost anywhere. You can go up and get it. Remember how they won a national championship when he was at Florida State? Yeah. Late game drive, put it way up there on the top shelf, and Kelvin Benjamin got it.
So now 1st and 10 as they've crossed into Miami territory, down at the 31. They'll run it now with Juszczyk. A gain of 3, 2nd down.
A good solid game there on first down, but the defense has to be happy they didn't let it pop for anything bigger.
To throw is Mendoza. To throw on 2nd down. Wide open receiver complete. And he will take it in for the touchdown. As his guys are in for 6. As his guys continue to pour it on. Now he's having a nice little first half here, partner.
And it's a first half that leaves us anticipating what can still come. I mean, 2 touchdowns already here through the second quarter. There could be plenty more before this game is over.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. And the route is on here in this first half. Just a 4-play drive that time. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. Matt Breida in the offense heading back out. They haven't been able to get him on track. They haven't been able to get this offense on track. No points so far.
Maybe it's time to start doing a few different things. Throwing the ball a little bit, maybe featuring other people touching it for a while, and then you've got a chance to come back to him when things have changed a little bit. They have to make an adjustment.
Now still time for him here as we sit in the second quarter. They'll start on the ground with Breida. And the running lane's non-existent in this first half as they'll stop him behind the line. It's a loss of 4 there, bringing up second down. Another example right there how this defense really is winning the entire game at the point of attack.
Yeah, right there at the line of scrimmage because they are dominating it. It allows their interior guys to get upfield and spill into the backfield. So how are you going to combat that? You know, people say bring in your tight end, keep him in. Your running backs, they have to step forward. Bottom line, your offensive line has to block them first to give yourself a chance.
So the first play of the drive lost 4. Now they'll look to move it forward here on 2nd and 14. They try to throw on second down, but this one is incomplete.
That would have been a great catch, but it's real difficult to hold on to it because it was contested all the way. Would have been a great play if he'd been able to haul that one in.
These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. And now the 3rd down throw incomplete as well. Throwing the football, he's not as sharp as he was last week when he was over 70%. Right now, he's under 50%.
Well, that comes from extra game film, extra time. You know those guys watched him all week, saw how precise he was, and constructed a defense to try and chip away at that, and thus far they've been successful.
First kick, 47. This one looks good as well. That's pulled in at the 32. 12 yards on the return that time. And the offense will take over with a new set of downs. Now let's discuss Antonio Brown as he heads back out there now. He's the star wide receiver, and he's doing his thing so far here into the second quarter.
And how you get distinguished as a star is each and every week performing to a high level no matter what they throw at you, because you're always wanting to take him out of the game if you're a defensive team. How do you press him, double him, triple him, all those things? But the best players show up each and every week, solid games and some spectacular ones.
And he has showed up time and time again. 38 yards on the scamper there.
We're going to work.
And having built that kind of a lead, they're able to do whatever they want right now. All momentum on their side, especially now running the football.
Yeah, you talk about a defense being on their toes. They don't know what's going to hit them next at this point.
No, they went from toes to heels, and they're trying to figure out how to get back to the toes part.
So the big play means just like that, they'll operate from the red zone now on first down. Mendoza operating from the gun. And Kelvin Benjamin's got it. And he's brought down just outside of the 10 at the 11. 7 yards to pick up on the pitch and catch.
One of the selling points of the in route is it gives the quarterback a really nice sight line to his receiver, and almost on a direct shot, able to throw the ball into the middle of the field and have a great chance of success as they did on that play.
Able to get 7 on that first down pass play. 2nd and 3.
Don't let them breathe. Play that tight deep. Don't let them breathe, defense.
2nd and 3. And this is caught. It's Edelman. And he gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Julian Edelman, his first touchdown here of the new campaign, as his guys continue to put this one out of reach. And on that one, able to catch it, also able to have the wherewithal to take it in for the score.
And how about the phases of a successful catch and a completion of a play? Look the ball in, secure the catch, and then, of course, the run after the catch that ends up in the end zone.
Lutz will look to add the extra point. And the route is on here in this first half. So they only needed 3 plays on that drive. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. Now we see Sammy Watkins getting ready to go again on offense. They've got to be thinking, how can we get him a little bit more involved here? Second quarter, you're down, and really, he's been out of the mix.
I would agree with that, and oftentimes you hear, well, we're just taking what the defense is giving us, but sometimes that's just not good enough. Sometimes you have to take what you want, and that means getting him the football.
Yeah, so far just a single catch in this game.
Pull it together. Hut, go.
They go play action here on first down. Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Von Miller in there for sack number 127 in his great career, moving it past Kansas City Hall of Famer Derek Thomas on the all-time list. Man, he got in there so quickly, Charles. What could the offense have done to adjust and account for that?
But what you're hoping is that you figure out and you see and get a clue that maybe there's going to be some pressure coming at you, and you change the blocking schemes. Maybe you go to max protection. The biggest one is maybe you bring your running back in to try and keep you clean. But in that case, that didn't happen. Zero accountability, and a sack resulted.
They go counter with Breida. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield. That's going to go down as a loss of 5, and it brings up third down.
Perfectly designed blitz right there. They took that one from the grease board to the field because they were able to free up their linebacker to get into the backfield and spill the play.
Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after first and second down went backwards. It's third and very long. Here's Bridgewater. They'll try and set up the screen. It's complete. And they'll bring him down right around the 13. Only a yard on the third down throw, and that leads to a fourth down.
That's certainly playing down in distance very well by the defense, isn't it? Take whatever you want underneath by all means.
Here's Sam Cook now, standing about a yard deep in his own end zone. Take it at the 37. Touchdown! 63 yards on a punt return score as his guys continue to pour it on.
I know the question will come up. If Antonio Brown is maybe the best receiver in the game, why would you risk him on special teams? I think we just saw why.
I was just going to say, Exhibit A. Lutz to try to add the PAT. And the route is on here in this first half. Well, it's no secret. That's why they have him return punts. He has the capability to take them back, and he did so there. So after the punt return touchdown, let's see what their opponents can do with this kickoff. And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. And still no points on the scoreboard. You're coming off of the 3 and out. They're just looking for anything to grab onto right now, aren't they?
I'm wondering if someone's going to take charge in the huddle. You know, we always look to the quarterback, but sometimes it's another player on the team, a star, a veteran, someone with some excitement and energy. It's like, all right, guys, let's shake things up and let's go, because they still have an opportunity to make things happen.
Shake it off. A handoff to Breida to begin the drive. And that play going absolutely nowhere as he's belted before he could get out of the backfield. That'll set him back with a loss of 3 on the play. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 13.
Well, we just saw a great example of what we talked about with his coach prior to the game. He's definitely one of the better linebackers at reading a play and flowing to make the stop before it turns into something big.
So now they have to contend with 2nd and 13 after the first down run goes backwards. From the gun, Bridgewater finds the open man. It's Mike Williams. And he's brought down, getting this one up to about the 35. That one good for 13 and a Dolphin first down. Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10. Throwing, Bridgewater. It's complete to Williams. And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. 22 yards on the catch and run, a first down. This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. 2 minutes remaining in this first half of football. A reminder, coming up at halftime, we'll head to Orlando. Standing by there, Jonathan Coachman. He'll have stats and scores from around the NFL in his 2nd week of the regular season. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Von Miller, he's the culprit, and that is now his 13th sack of the season as his great year continues.
Well, maybe that can give him a little bit of...
Through an opening, and there he goes. And it's a touchdown. That pick 6 extending this lead even further. And boy, it's been a while since I've seen a team struggle this badly in the first half.
I think all they want to do is get to the locker room, try and regroup, and come out to start the 3rd quarter. But if things don't improve fast then, I think the backups get a lot of play in the 2nd half.
Lutz will look to add the extra point. And the route is on here in this first half. So the defense creating some points, not only getting the interception, but then returning it to the end zone for the pick 6. So they throw the pick 6. They'll get another shot at it now as this one's in the air. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. And last time, decent field position through the pick 6. Obviously costly.
but they can't afford to just bunker in now. All right, good field position means go ahead and attack on offense. Try and press the advantage a little bit. They just have to be better with the football on this possession.
So that didn't bother you too much last time?
No, because it's exactly what you're supposed to do. You can't have good field position, not try to take advantage of it. Sometimes the defense makes a good...
Rush coming, and he's taken down. Von Miller in there to get him. Sack number 14 for him on the year.
Pressure can come from all over when you're plotting a defensive strategy. On that particular play, it just came from the outside.
They come up on 2nd and long, and the pass protection just has not been there this afternoon. Bridgewater now. And his throw here's incomplete. Kendrick Bourne, the intended receiver, and it'll bring up 3rd down. What a difference a week makes. Last week he hit on over 80% of his passes. This week he's down under 50%. What do you see as the difference?
Well, I think we're used to seeing a drop. If someone's over 80%, they're not going to hold that number, not in this league. But a drop under 50%, that just tells me that the defense, they spent a lot of extra time on game films and came up with a really good plan to try and chip away at his timing.
Now the throw on 3rd down, knocked away and incomplete.
I tell you, Brandon, this defense is playing with some confidence. Haven't allowed a point yet. Flying to the football. I'm telling you, it's almost 11 to the ball on every snap. Another nice job there to force an incompletion.
Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. Let's take it inside his own 40. It'll be a net of only 30 here. 40-yard punt, 10 on the return. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. So here are visitors to take over on offense. They are just putting things together so well here, drive after drive. They really have captured the momentum, haven't they?
They've taken momentum and pretty much not just given him a jersey, but a seat on the bench as well. Whatever do you need, you've got it, because the way they're stringing things together and creating that distance between them and their opponent, it's really hard to narrow that gap. And the other part is they're taking their spirit away from them, too.
And now they're just looking to add to that total. So after the incompletion on 1st, now 2nd and 10. Completes it to Benjamin. And he is brought down, but not before reaching the 30. A gain there of 21 yards. And with that last play, he's now up over that 300-yard mark.
And in today's NFL, it almost feels routine. And I hate that when you talk about a 300-yard passing game. To me, 300 yards still signifies excellence, and he's achieved that in this performance.
So 1st and 10 now from the 30. Back to throw. Mendoza. They'll set up the screen for Freeman. And he's into the end zone for the receiving touchdown. Devontae Freeman, as the first half is winding down, as his guys continue to put this one out of reach. Good start to the season for him. He had the touchdown last week in the opener and a second one in week 2 now.
How about the pace he's already established, right? Not sure he can keep it up for an entire season, but don't burst the bubble because he thinks that he can.
Do guys go into a season with a goal for touchdowns scored or yardage? What do you think?
I think every single one of the guys who's going to touch the football, they all have those types of goals. They all have those types of thoughts. And then they just have to see how the season unfolds if they can stay with it.
Unfolding so far so good for him. Lutz to try to add the PAT.
Delay of game, offense.
That's going to set him back 5 yards. Lutz will look to add the extra point. And the route is on here in this first half.
Makes the score, Golden Eagles 7.
The drive there only spanning 3 plays. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. First down Miami as they get set to start the drive. And with time quickly fading here in the second quarter, not sure how aggressively, offensively they want to play this.
I think we'll find out just how much they trust their guys in this situation if they decide to take a shot.
The All-Pro Von Miller there on the tackle. So we've reached halftime here in what is quickly turning into quite a rout. As we go up to Orlando now and hand it over to Jonathan Coachman with our EA Sports Halftime Report. Take it away, Coach.
Okay, Brandon, we'll get you back to you and Charles in a bit, but first it's time for a trip around the NFL following an eventful opening weekend. Let's see what's happening in Week 2. We'll get started up at Lucas Oil Stadium in the capital city of Indianapolis, and it's the Colts who have the lead in that one. Derek Carr has a couple of touchdown passes there. From there, we head up to the Motor City to check in on the Lions at home at Ford Field. And they've got the lead over the visiting Chicago Bears. Albert Wilson, 2 touchdown catches on the afternoon. Finally, let's get to the country music capital of the world and see what's happening with the Titans at home in Nashville. And at this point, they trail the visiting Baltimore Ravens. Allen Hurns, a touchdown reception. Meanwhile, in our game, it's been a back-and-forth first half. Who can put it together in the second half? For the answer, we turn it back over to our broadcast team of Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. Both teams appear ready for the fight ahead, and we resume action here in quarter number 3. This will be taken to the back of the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Back onto the field now comes the wideout Antonio Brown. This defense, they wouldn't mind not seeing him again for a while. 3 trips to the end zone. How about that?
I think right now they would happily go to their general manager and say, is there any way you could get a trade for him? Bring him over to our team so we don't have to cover him anymore, because he is really having a heck of a ball game, isn't he?
Boy, he is. I don't know that mid-game trade's going to happen, but good thought. Third quarter starts with a run by Freeman. And he'll get this from the 25 to the 30 for a pickup of 5. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on first down.
I call that play a success. A nice inside run sets up a very manageable second down. A very solid gain on that play.
Ball on the 30. They'll come up with a 2nd and 5. Freeman again. And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. 15 yards on the play. First down.
They're trying to show that they can run the ball and protect this lead. Give it to the backs, play a little bit of keep away, don't you think?
And that's probably a good philosophy at this point, going to make that defense stand up and stop them.
Ready. 10 Lobos.
Rip right.
Deep grip.
McCaffrey. Gets by him, and now a little daylight. And he will take this one in for a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, his 3rd touchdown now on the year, as his guys continue to pour it on. And on that long run, maybe the defense caught napping a little bit.
The concentration level may not have been there. I agree with you on that one, because those types of plays, when they result like that, they're almost like big bolts of lightning, aren't they? Whoosh, and off he goes.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter.
Makes the score, Golden Eagles 7.
Scoring summary, 3-play drive. And the last play on the drive, the touchdown run from Christian McCaffrey. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at the 3. They'll bring it back to just about the 25, call it the 24-yard line. So here are the Dolphins now. They get ready for their first possession of the second half. They're down in this game. A chance for the offense, though, to put something on the board, get some momentum here in half 2.
Try and get things kick-started for them. And you know, at the half, they discussed how they were going to get that done. This is where scripting comes into play a lot of the time.
How many plays do you script coming out of the second half?
Most of the time in the first half, you're scripting 12 to 16. I think in the second half, you're really scripting more like 8 to 10. Kind of a starter or an opener, whatever terminology they use. Just something to get you off to a quick start.
That's going to go as a loss of 1 on first down.
He continues to struggle to find a crease to break off a big one, and might need to just put that aside and just try and ram his way forward and get what he can.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. From the shotgun, it's Bridgewater. And that one got tipped, kind of threw everything off. It brings up 3rd. These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. Out of the gun, Bridgewater. And this is caught by Watkins. And they work this well upfield across the 45. A really nice gain of 25 yards.
Press coverage on the outside, and for defenders, that's the ultimate risk-reward. If you take the risk, can you reward yourself by keeping them on the line of scrimmage? But no, not on that one. Got the step on them. Now it's just a matter of laying the ball out there for him to go get it.
Single.
Watch 42. He's coming up the edge. Watch him off the
Now a play fake here on first down. Now he's hit, and Bridgewater loses the football. It's going the other way. Past the 20. And this results in 6. Touchdown. And give some kudos to the defensive coordinator, I think, here. They bring the blitz, they dial it up, and it turns into 6 points for them.
It's so nice to hear you actually give kudos to the defense. It is so nice. You're such an offensive guy like that. I love it. He dialed things up, and boy, a big play resulted for his guys.
Well, you like the credit to the defense there, right, my friend?
Yeah, do I ever?
Lutz will look to add the extra point. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter.
Makes the score, Golden Eagles.
The scoop and score, always an exciting play in football, and we witnessed it there, grabbing it off the ground and then rumbling it into the end zone for 6. So here's the kickoff now as they'll get it again following that fumble return for a score. This fielded at the 2. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 25-yard line. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. They've got to dig down deep. I mean, they need something right now, really anything to cling on to. This offense has struggled.
Partner, join me in a walk to their locker room at the half, okay? Because I think what we would have seen is an offensive coordinator and his assistant coaches getting together with all their positions, then coming together as a group, going over adjustments, and then the head coach coming in and just screaming, wake up.
Yeah.
Let's get moving, guys.
I'm kind of glad we weren't in there at halftime, actually.
I mean, you think you might have turned it on us, too?
Yeah, but right now, whatever was said hasn't been working.
I like the strategy. Extra tight ends, extra beef. They want to run the football, but that means they probably want to run it inside. If you get strung out on the perimeter, you're in peril.
Yeah, we saw the result, negative yardage. First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's 2nd and 12. Now Bridgewater. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Von Miller, he continues to wreak havoc in the offensive backfield. Sack number 16 on the year.
So one quick, easy analysis about why they've struggled so far. They keep putting themselves in 3rd and long situations. They just took another sack right there.
And the offensive film session tomorrow may be a little longer than it normally is.
Not a lot of positive grades will be handed out thus far.
3rd and long now after the sack, and we'll see if Bridgewater has a response. Off the play fake, Bridgewater. And that will be incomplete. Had to pass there, 3rd and long on your own side of the field. Just couldn't come up with anything.
That's why teams always talk about having to win the early downs, meaning you've got to gain yardage and set yourself up for 3rd and short, because when it's 3rd and long, the odds go down significantly trying to pick up the first down, even throwing the football.
Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. And this is away. It's a high kick, and he got all of it. This is taken at the 23. Good blocking there, nearly sprung him. As it is, it'll go as a 19-yard return. Now let's discuss Antonio Brown as he heads back out there now. So far, he has the trio of touchdowns. Obviously, it's been a pretty good game for him.
So if this were hockey, they'd be throwing their hats out on the ice for the hat trick, right? I'm not sure exactly what you do in the NFL except applaud and continue to hope you see a little bit more of this. What a tremendous game.
You want to start a new tradition? What can we throw on the field?
I don't know.
We'll throw your mic out there.
A lot of fans would like that. Cut his mic off.
3 touchdowns. And now off to the races down the right side. And he'll take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon as his guys continue to put this one out of reach. He's turning in a heck of a game. He's creeping up towards 200 yards, a pair of touchdowns now to go along with it.
There's so many things we can talk about in his game because we're seeing it all from him, but I love his vision. He's seeing the holes develop. He's seeing holes develop before they actually open. He's making sure he's getting to the right places, very decisive in his cuts, but his vision has been the key to all these big runs in this game.
And on that last long run, we got a pretty good look at his speed as well. Lutz good on the extra point. And the lead will swell by one more. So they hit pay dirt on just one play. The long run, the scamper, and a very nice scamper into the end zone for the touchdown. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at the 3. And he'll get it up across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Now on the return here, we've got an injured player down there. We'll get an update when we come back to Hard Rock Stadium. The Dolphins at the line ready for their next drive. And last drive, 3 and out. Still a goose egg on the scoreboard. How do they break that goose egg?
They've got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, get them some space, and try and make a first down and get some momentum going. It's been a struggle for them throughout the game, and that 3 and out on the last possession, that told you just how stalled they are on offense.
So who will step up here? We'll see. After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11.
Let him know, let him know. Let him know, let him know.
They stay on the ground. Again, it's Breida. And they're going to get him behind the line yet again as his nightmare afternoon continues. It's a loss of 2, now 3rd down.
We've seen this a few times in this game. That offensive line just, I don't know if you want to call it out physical, out tough, whatever you want to use.
And what people do when that is happening, when they're getting dominated that way, they spread things out a little bit, make it more of a space game, and allow your skill position players to make a few plays out in open field. Take away the physical element, gives you a chance.
Bridgewater. Try to get it to Williams, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. And he will not get all the way home, but he will take this back down to about the 2-yard line. And that pick just sets him up beautifully right down near the goal line.
I remember being in a defensive meeting back when I was in college, and our defensive coordinator says, we're going to call this Be Who You Are defense. D linemen, you play the run. Linebackers, be aware of anything. And secondary, you play the pass. That way, you're all set, ready for whatever they put out there.
So here are our visitors to take over on offense. And coming off a one-play drive that was so deflating for the defense, what's their mentality? How do they rally here and stop this offense?
Well, hopefully there's some determination that sets in because they weren't ready to go on the last one. Give all the credit to the offensive guys for getting it done, but to allow a run of that length, that's just not being prepared. So now, are they determined? Are they ready to read their keys and make the proper plays?
And we'll see how determined they are. Able to get a couple here, but won't get across the plane as they stop him right around the 1.
Well, Brandon, we always know that once you score one touchdown,
you will too.
You're without a doubt. And so far today, he's got one, but was denied as he tried to get the second one.
Now a 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete.
Those throwing windows get a lot tighter near the end zone, don't they? And here's the thing. You already probably have 3 points in your hip pocket. You force a throw here and give up an interception, you come away with nothing.
Especially tough in the middle third of the field where he threw that one.
They come out with one back and 3 tight ends. I can't imagine we'd see another throw here. 3rd and goal from the 1. Looking to throw. Mendoza. And he will take this one in for a touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk, his 2nd touchdown on the season. And his guys capitalize on the short field as they take it in for 6.
There was no going through the progressions on that touchdown pass.
Yeah, nor was it necessary. His receiver won that route early, presented himself. No reason to wait. Go ahead and put it on him and score a touchdown.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. And the lead grows even larger here in the 3rd quarter. So they only needed 3 plays on that drive. And it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This fielded at the 2. And he'll be brought down at the 23, make it the 24-yard line. The Dolphins offense now working their way back onto the field. They are right now just ice cold. I mean, they have struggled big time in this game, and they're getting blown out. How do they adjust?
So tough because we always talk about it being a team game and you need all 11 working well together. But every now and then, partner, you need that one guy who can make a play against all odds that maybe can ignite things. And I think that's what they're looking for right now.
Yeah, you talk about going to your playmakers. They probably need to do it.
Find someone that you're used to touching the football that makes big plays and give them that opportunity to maybe wake up everyone else.
That sends them 2 yards in the wrong direction and leads to 2nd down.
They're having issues right now getting that running game going.
I wonder if maybe adopting some of the college run game would help here. Because we're still at that stage where you have a bunch of guys saying, I don't know about what the colleges do. And the college stuff is working in the NFL. Bigger line splits, create some more natural running lanes, might help the offensive linemen get better angles in their blocking schemes.
So the opening play of the drive goes backwards. Now they'll come up on 2nd and 12. A 2nd down pass play there, but it's incomplete. Not that time for Watkins, and it's 3rd down.
Not sure what happened out there, but it looked like the timing was a little off on that throw.
Well, you know I'm a defender, so what am I going to say?
Great defense.
Darn right. They did something to disrupt that timing.
On 3rd down, Bridgewater. And that is incomplete.
I know our vantage point might be a little bit better way up here, but that looked like an ill-advised throw to me. I didn't see anything open, and this play just didn't look right from the beginning.
It did not. I thought he might get outside and just chuck it away. Dangerous pass, incomplete. Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. He gets it away, and I think they'll smartly play keep away here from Brown. And no return possible here as they angle this one out of bounds. So here are visitors to take over on offense. They've really distanced themselves. They have put the pedal to the metal, I guess, so to speak.
So definitely have them in the rearview mirror, don't they? I mean, you're exactly right. Being able to string together these drives that end up in points, it's almost like a run in basketball to create that distance, and they're on a really big-time one right now.
It becomes contagious, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, because oftentimes it translates to your defense as well, because they're excited about getting the ball back for their offense that's playing so well.
Well, they are clicking right now. Now Mendoza throwing to start the drive. And a scary incompletion, almost picked off. It would have been their first INT of the game. Instead, 2nd down. They got the win last week despite not having any interceptions. Tried to come up with one there, could not. But there's a stat category called PBU, pass breakup. That's important too, and they got one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because at least you're there knocking the ball away. Offense isn't possessing it, making plays downfield. And you just continue to harass the receivers, harass the quarterback, and maybe the big play does occur down the road.
They're going to snuff this play out behind the line. We have not seen that much today. He lost 4 there, and it's 3rd down.
Well, Brandon, he's had a great day, but sometimes the other guys make a play against you. What's that expression they like to use in the NFL? Those guys get paid too, you know.
Yeah, in college they say, hey, they're on scholarship too. In the NFL, they're getting paid too. With the day he's had, you can have one go in the wrong direction.
Get it.
And here's Mendoza throwing on 3rd and long. Benjamin's got it. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. That'll put him close to 100 yards receiving. He's at 98, and he's got a 1st down.
One thing I can say pretty safely, that route is not called if you don't have a guy who can throw the ball and put some mustard on it. Because if you're going to lollipop it in the middle of the field, bad things usually happen. It takes a strong-arm guy who can rifle it in there, and they were able to successfully complete that one.
Got it.
54, right there. 54, Mike. Watch the slant.
Hit it.
Mendoza now throwing on 1st down, eluding the pressure right. Got a man. It's Brown. And they're well past midfield, just a yard or 2 shy of the 40. Another good gain. That's now 35 yards combined on those last 2 plays. So they go from one 42-yard line to the other as they come up now 1st and 10. Back to throw. Mendoza gets this one to Juszczyk. 5 yards on the pickup, and that'll make it a 2nd down.
Now that's often a surprise for the defensive guys when they see the big fella slide out of the backfield and catch the ball. Not something they usually go over in practice very often.
2nd and 5 after the 5-yard completion on 1st down. 2nd and 5. Flush to his right. And his throw's going to be incomplete. Eric Reed, the former LSU Tiger, making the play on the defensive side.
Well, the secondary's really struggled today, but that's a little bit of a measure of revenge, isn't it? And they just followed the basic rules. See ball, knock ball away, turned into a nice play.
Looking to throw. Mendoza. Caught on the left side by Benjamin. 7 catches for him now, and this last one, a 1st down.
Let's go.
And there was absolutely 0 pressure on the quarterback on that play. 3rd down, and he has all the time in the world to eventually find an open receiver for a 1st down pickup.
This quarterback now a perfect 8 for 8 to start the 2nd half. Not bad. 1st and 10. Back to throw. Mendoza gets this to his running back. It's Christian McCaffrey. And they are able to stop him, but he does take it all the way to the 2. And a nice gain of 21 yards.
Good route, good pickup for 1st down yardage, and that is a tough one to cover. The angle route, because a running back getting out of the backfield, if you're trying to cover that, especially if you're in the linebacker spot and you're seeing this play develop, he heads out towards the flat first, and that often gets you to overcommit running in that direction. Then he cuts back up inside you into the middle of the field. That's what we just saw there for a nice pickup.
Here we go. 50, plant. Mike 91.
To throw is Mendoza. From the gun, he'll throw. He'll get only 2 there, and it's 2nd and goal.
That's it, baby.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack as a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
No gain on the play, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Usually the offense has an answer to anything a defense throws at them, including a safety valve, and that's what they did on that play. They went there, but the defense still made an excellent play and held them to no gain.
Mendoza gonna throw on 3rd and goal. Looking end zone, but it's incomplete. So it's been a long drive. They've held the ball for quite a while. Now what do you do here?
Well, to me, at this stage, after this drive, this close to the goal line, 3 points would be a letdown. I'm going for it here.
Now Mendoza throwing on 4th down. And he will take it in for the touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk, his 2nd touchdown of the game, his 3rd on the year, as his guys continue to pour it on. Big 4th down conversion for the score, and the defense, that is a tough pill to swallow.
Big time for them. How about them just deciding to go for it on 4th down? And, okay, forget the field goal, because that looked like an easy 3 points. Yeah, you might have had a defensive breakdown in there, but they pressed the issue and found a way to get it into the end zone. Give them big credit for that.
Lutz will look to add the extra point. And the lead grows even larger here in the 3rd quarter. So that drive, 12 plays in length. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken at his 4. And he'll take this one near the 25, call it the 26-yard line. Then the Dolphins getting set to go here. And 3 and out on the last drive. No points on the scoreboard. A little soul-searching now.
I would say so, and they need to help out their defense a little bit. They've had to be on the field a lot more than normal, put them in some tough spots. But what's the old adage? When you get another chance, it gives you a better chance to do it right.
Let's go, D.
They'll begin the drive with Breida. Space to maneuver at the 40, and all the way up to the 46. An ideal beginning of the drive there as they'll get 20 and a 1st down.
Sometimes it's hard to believe, but there are times this game is about patience, isn't it? Hasn't had the game he expected, but that run there, that may get him going.
I was just going to say, maybe that gives him a little juice, because you're right, he struggled, especially in that 1st half.
Yeah, and I know the great ones always think to themselves, just hang in there. I'm just one big carry away from busting this open. That's a good start for him.
A big hitter to start the drive has him up near midfield here for 1st and 10. Meanwhile here, a run on 1st down really backfires as he's going to be brought down well behind the line of scrimmage. That's one they certainly wish they had back, a loss of 8.
I know that speed is the hallmark of today's NFL game, but the key to good rushing defense is still having your linebackers set the edge.
Watch the screen. Watch the screen.
Throwing on 2nd and long. Bridgewater. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Von Miller in there to bring him down, and that is sack number 17 for him now on the year. Third and long now after the sack, and we'll see if Bridgewater has a response.
Tight right. 3 down, 3 down.
And that is going to do it for this 3rd quarter of action. We'll return with more after this break. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. 3rd and long now after the sack, and we'll see if Bridgewater has a response. Throwing is Bridgewater. This is complete to Watkins on the slant. It's a gain of 11, but they're still well short. It's 4th down.
You can see the time and effort and thought that they put into their passing game because it was evident right there. It looks like a simple pitch and catch, but you and I both know that they have planned for this and worked hard to make it happen.
Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. Averaging over 50 yards a punt so far as this one's away. And good hustle here as this is going to be blown dead right at the 9-yard line.
Well, someone's going to be happy with that effort. You know who else is going to be happy? His defense.
Absolutely.
He's created a very long field for that offense to try to traverse.
And he got some help from Mr. Football there, checking up nicely. Good English on that punt. So here are visitors to take over on offense. We've got a lopsided game here. I don't know, Charles, what does the handbook say that we discuss when we've got a game like this in the fourth quarter?
Hold on a second. Let me thumb to the proper page on that. Know what it says?
What?
Let's discuss how we got here. This is a dominant performance, where they took control of this game, how they've managed to keep control of this game, and then we go ahead and think about how we're going to leave here and get to the airport in a lopsided blow.
And he's going to go down. Back at his own 5-yard line, it's a sack.
One thing that I liked about this guy during the draft process was his motor. Of course, I loved his skills, but he plays hard on every down.
And that motor on full display there as he gets his first NFL sack. There's a ball thrown right side and complete. And they work this out past the 25. That one a gain of 20 and a first down. They have the nice cushion. They just want to pour it on right now, still throwing the football.
And I know my background says, why do you need to do this? Just go ahead and run out the clock and get a win. But as many people pointed out to me, it's a video game, man. Go ahead and put the numbers up. Sportsmanship, not an issue.
Exercise those fingers. Being chased out left. He's got a man complete. It's Julian Edelman. And out across midfield down to the 45. 28 yards the gain there on the catch and run.
As a general rule, offensive linemen like to know where their quarterback's going to be when he's setting up to throw the football. But sometimes they just have to get on the run, get on the move. He was able to do that on that play and picks up a first down with a nice throw.
So now 1st and 10 as they've crossed into Miami territory at the 45-yard line. Now this one to his tight end out on the right side. 20! And he gets into the end zone for the touchdown. A big play there. 45 yards as his guys continue to put this one out of reach.
There's no doubt in my mind.
And do you hear that? Do you hear the...
It's not scales, right?
No.
I don't hear scales. Do I actually hear a tune being warbled?
I think the fat lady's humming.
Yeah, she's doing more than humming. She's belting it out right now.
She's going. She's full bore.
Yeah, this thing is flat out finished.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. Now this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. A drive there of just 4 plays. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. The Dolphins offense now heads back on the field. And down on the scoreboard, certainly needing to avoid what happened on the last drive, punting the football.
Sense of urgency has to take over for them here. They know the score. They know the situation. And by the way, the punter no longer exists for their offense. That's how they have to treat this drive.
They need points.
Big time.
Push him back. Push him back.
Bridgewater on first down. Got the connection here to Bourne. And he'll get this from the 25 to the 30 for a pickup of 5. 5 yards on the catch there, brings up second down.
In so many ways, throwing the hitch route is actually one of the safer things an offense can do. Get the ball out to the receiver as fast as possible, hope he's got man-to-man coverage, and hope that his athleticism wins on the perimeter.
Ball on the 30. They'll come up with a 2nd and 5. Here's Bridgewater over the middle, and it's incomplete. Just nothing there again. He's been sacked multiple times. We've seen the interceptions, of course. He's really been through the ringer, hasn't he?
And what we've seen is a defense that's well coordinated, the front and the back.
And he's going to be intercepted a third time. Picked off by Malcolm Jenkins. And they take possession of the football and have it at the 36-yard line.
Well, this defensive pressure has been constant all game long. The pass rush, the coverage, they've all been excellent, and now they'll tack on an interception here as this one continues to slip just further and further out of hand.
So here are visitors to take over on offense. The outcome of this one, well, we know who's going to win it. It's just all window dressing at this point. Got me thinking, what's the biggest blowout that you've been a part of as a player, broadcaster?
Well, I'm not going to go to the player part because when I think blowout...
Because you won every game as a player.
No. I think about being blown out, and no one wants to go back to those memories. But, you know, when I was calling college football, I saw a game that, you know, a team put 70. I actually saw it happen twice. A team put 70 on their opponent. And in the NFL in the 2017 season, I saw one of those changing of the guard games where a team that hadn't been very good before now was dominating and kicking around a team who had been ruling their division.
And that's when you earn your paycheck, right? As the analyst, you got to fill that time.
You've got to know what's going on out there and how it all happened.
Well, obviously, that begs the question, what game was it?
That was Seattle host.
And he will take this one in for a touchdown. 14 yards. And that interception key as it leads to the touchdown.
Well, this game is definitely over, but we do know some people like to go ahead and continue to add to their score, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know that they need to add any more right now, though. I'm just starting to think about those dinner plans tonight, my friend.
Well, you and I will be thinking about dinner plans, but we also know they're playing people are thinking, how can I get some more scores for my fantasy, for other things? They're trying to figure that part out now.
By the way, last weekend we went sushi because that's what you wanted. We're going steak tonight.
I'm in.
All right. Lutz will look to add the extra point. Now, this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. Hardly any time taken off the clock there. 2 plays, and they find the end zone for 6 points. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line.
Let's go.
Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over. And following the interception, just any interception, are you a little bit more cautious when you start that next drive, or no, you just throw that out the window?
I think you are. I don't think that there's any way you can run back out there and go, totally didn't affect me. Let's just go ahead and be loose with the football again. You're going to take care of it, but you have to be careful about being too cautious because now you can't run any offense at all.
Still want to attack. We'll see how they attack them here. Trying to shake off the interception from the last drive. He'll look to throw. And he'll get this from the 25 to the 30 for a pickup of 5.
Many teams, as soon as they spot man defense, if they haven't called a hitch, they'll get to it as fast as they can. They want to put the ball in the hands of one of their best playmakers and hope that he can break a tackle on the outside and go for big yardage.
To throw again on second down, Bridgewater.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
This game just keeps evolving and changing, doesn't it? You got a tight end who can move around a lot. Not necessarily using a big body on him. Sometimes you take a corner, a better cover guy, and put him on him and try and take him out of the game as we've seen in this one.
You're exactly right. They've taken him out of the game. That was just his first catch. Big reason they're losing right now. So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive. To throw, Bridgewater. He's got Green. A gain of 6 there on first.
Obviously, this has not been a banner game throwing the football. So what you got to do, you got to kind of down focus, don't you think? Find the tight end, take some easier completions.
Yeah, interception last drive. There he hits the reliable target. Throwing again on 2nd down. Bridgewater, Von Miller, a milestone sack for him as it moves him past Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor, who finished his career with 132.5.
Well, that was an interesting little chess match there because the offense went empty set. No running backs in the backfield, so they're trying to get people out into a route pretty quickly. But guess what? The defense sees that. They go ahead and move themselves into a blitzing situation and come right after the quarterback. They had more guys there than they could block.
3rd and long now after the sack, and we'll see if Bridgewater has a response. Bridgewater. And that'll be incomplete. Well, they took their shot all right, but it comes up empty, and it's 4th down.
This defense was definitely alert to the possibility of the deep ball, and they were more than ready for it.
They've got the lead, 4th quarter. Maybe can expect more passes like that downfield. Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. And a great job here. This is going to turn out to be a beauty. This is marked down at about the 3-yard line. Now, if you're a fan of punting, this game's for you. He's been out there quite a bit. That one maybe his best yet.
Yeah, he certainly got his leg loose by now. It kind of reminds me of my college football coach, John Majors. He loved the punting game because he liked the positioning, the field position, and he loved to play defense.
The offense now at the line, ready for their next drive. And this game comfortably in hand. The scoreboard speaks for itself, but you still got your starting quarterback out there. When do you go to the backup, let him get some time?
And that's one of the great questions in the NFL, Brandon, because I'm just going to tell you, in the 2015 season, I commentated on 3 games in a row that were blowouts. And in none of them did the starting quarterback ever come out of the game for the team that had a big lead. And in each instance, I asked the coaches later on, why didn't you do that? And they all looked at me and said, just don't really do that in the NFL. You know, these guys play, and we just play them all the way through. Now, in certain situations, they will take them out, but for the most part, they're not as worried and concerned about getting them out of the game, and that's always puzzled me a little bit.
Looking to throw. Mendoza. This will be caught by Brown. And he's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. Right about 20 yards on the pickup. Officially, they'll say it's going to go for 19.
Some think that teams really won't throw a slant route unless you have a receiver that has a lot of stature to him. But sometimes the little guys, they get lost in there. People can't really locate them, and they run that quick cut on the slant, and oftentimes they can turn it into big plays.
You think you gonna get this?
This is McCaffrey, and he's going to be stopped up quickly here. Just a yard up to the 39. Run blitz there defensively, something we might see more of here in the 4th quarter.
I think we'll see a lot of it, and the difference between that and a pass blitz, you're trying to get to the quarterback. You're trying to scheme someone open who will get to the QB and make sure he gets on the ground. In a run blitz, you're actually trying to cover up gaps, trying to cover up holes so they can't run the football.
And now he'll tuck it and run. And they've got it well across midfield down to the 40 before it's all said and done. No one there to help out downfield, but no problem. Scrambling for 22 and a first.
On that play, as you saw the route start to develop downfield, I got the sense that maybe the run would set up for him, and he took full advantage of it and got a big gain on a busted play.
So now 1st and 10 as they've crossed into Miami territory right at the 40. Back to throw. Mendoza. It's complete to Brown, right side. And all the way inside the 15 before they drop him.
Let's go, boys.
25 yards that time. And looking to put this game on ice in the fourth quarter, but still not afraid to throw it as they show there.
You want to play the game with confidence, and they have a guy who's in control right now. Their trigger guy, throwing it, they feel just as confident with him doing that as they would if they tried to run the ball and run the clock out.
Let's go now. 90 Wolf.
54 Mike. We don't want this.
Ready, ready.
A handoff, McCaffrey running right. And he'll take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Taking it in from 14 yards out as his guys continue to pour it on. And that rushing touchdown is fourth, puts him just one shy of the NFL record in a single game.
And we all know he would love to get to that record and even beyond it, but he doesn't need to in order to impress in this one, does he? What a performance. What an absolute great game that he's had here in this one.
Lutz to try to add the PAT. And this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. That time a 6-play drive. And the last play on the drive, the touchdown run from Christian McCaffrey. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Out comes the Miami offensive unit now. They get set to take over.
These guys had to punt last time. It has not been a very fruitful game offensively thus far. They haven't even made a trip to the red zone.
And I know that everyone's going crazy on that sideline because that drives you berserk to come off the field, not really move the ball well. As you said, not even get to the red zone, let alone, not even put points on the board. They've got to just take a deep breath, relax, try and figure out what is working, and call more of that.
Officially no gain on the play, and it's second down. Another carry, same story. Fourth quarter, and he is in red numbers right now with a running game.
Hard to believe because you figure at some point you break off a run. But in this case, what we're seeing is just pure domination by the defense. I think it started with the scouting report. They got into what they were doing offensively, into their mindset, and now they're beating them to the punch on every snap.
They try to throw on second down, but this one is incomplete.
I think this one offensively, this is one where you just say, let's move on. Let's not even watch the game tapes from this one.
Yeah, you might just want to throw it in the trash, act like it was never there in the first place.
Yeah, just say we're good. I actually have heard of a coach in the past who took his team out to the practice field and ceremonially buried the game films from the prior game when they got clobbered. That was his way of putting it behind him.
He'll get this into the hands of Breida. And this will not get close to the first down marker as he's brought down at the 26.
One hallmark of good defenses is understanding the game, understanding positioning, and tackling immediately in the secondary after catches. I think we just saw that on display right there.
Got to him before he ever had a chance to think about turning it upfield. Here's Sam Cook now as he's on to punt for Miami. Fielded just inside the 30. That'll be a 43-yard punt, but a net of just 33 following a 10-yard return. Back onto the field now comes the wideout Antonio Brown. And I know that they've double-teamed him a couple times, but not a ton. Whatever they're doing isn't working. He's up over 100 yards. We'll see how they adjust.
And when they do that, they weaken their defense in other places as well. And how many times have we done games where we've seen a guy have a big game like this, but it's usually not by himself, is it?
Right.
Usually it opens it up for other people to have big games as well.
play clock down to 0, and this is not the way to start a drive. And that'll be accepted, of course, and that moves him back 5.
Still first down.
The offense back out there at the line, ready for their next drive. And that last drive, a long drive, but not just that. They had a great air attack going. Do they stick with that?
I would think that they would, because if they were confident enough to do it on the last drive, starting backed up in their own territory, why would you change anything? They've got to be confident about what they're presenting and continue to do so.
Yeah, because the secondary, they really look clueless.
And that was amazing because that drive went and went, no adjustments, and no big plays by the defense to knock the ball away.
So they saw the contact before the ball arrived. Penalty flag for pass interference.
And trying to avoid pass interference is so difficult. You're trying to slow down these skilled receivers, and somehow, some way, they make plays on the football, and sometimes you're there too soon.
They go play action here on first down. And this time he's got the hookup. It's complete. And they are going to score again. Yet another touchdown as they just add to their totals. Looking like they're well on their way to a 2-0 start. All smiles right now on that sideline, isn't it?
As well there should be. It's hard to win a game in the NFL. We hear it all the time. We know that it's difficult. But guess who's smiling? But inside is thinking 24-hour rule, because we're going to have to play again next week.
Boss man.
Oh, without a doubt. The head coach, he wants them to feel good, but at the same time, find a way to keep improving.
Still an important piece of business to take care of, the extra point. Now this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. Well, they got the ball in great field position. One play later, boom, end zone. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. The Dolphins offense now ready to go back out onto the field. Let's just be frank. They're playing for pride at this point.
That's all that's left, because victory, not a chance now. And I can't wait to see how they actually go about doing it, because there are a lot of people watching the body language of the guys on the field now, and if they call plays they want executed, they need to do that and do it really well. Otherwise, there could be repercussions.
We'll see how they handle the waning moments of this one. To throw is Bridgewater. Open man is Bourne. And he'll get this from the 25 to the 30 for a pickup of 5. Ball on the 30. They'll come up with a 2nd and 5.
Hey, let's go.
Bridgewater now. Throwing over the middle, but it's incomplete. Jaron Brown, the intended target, and it's 3rd down. Another pass attempt, another incompletion. You figure defensively, you're in the 4th quarter here. You've held the team under 100 yards passing. You've done your job.
Especially in today's NFL, which is truly a pass-first league.
Now a shot taken on 3rd down, but it's going to wind up incomplete. This one winding toward a conclusion, and how would you assess how the secondary is played?
Well, we just saw them take another shot downfield, that was incomplete, correct?
Correct.
So my assessment is that if anyone's played really well in this game, it's been the secondary. That was the latest example.
Yeah, they've been solid. Really, the whole defense has been solid. Still pitching a shutout. 46 on his first kick. This one in that neighborhood as well. Now Brown. It's a 47-yard punt, but they did give up 10 on the return. And let's discuss Antonio Brown as he heads back out there now. What a game for him, Charles. 4 touchdowns. Heck, for a lot of guys, that's a good season number.
You're exactly right. And let's face it, we have to stand up and applaud this one, even though we're supposed to be neutral, because this doesn't just happen by accident. This isn't 4 times where the defense just falls down or breaks coverage. He's worked awfully hard, changing routes, changing areas, changing angles, and getting open for touchdowns.
We knew he'd be part of the game plan in a big way, and it has been in a very big way. They start on the ground with McCaffrey. 5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up 2nd and 5.
And that's one of the reasons you like to blitz even on rundowns. It confuses the blocking assignments. It doesn't allow those offensive linemen to get up to the second level.
Escaping the pressure right. And he's got his favorite target yet again. It's complete. And he'll have it past midfield almost to the 40 before being taken down. Now after the completion, we're going to get a timeout, an injured player. We'll get an update when we come back to Miami.